This episode is brought to you by State Farm. From your morning podcast to your afternoon playlist, State Farm knows you personalize your entire day, and that's why State Farm helps you personalize your insurance with the State Farm Personal Price Plan. It offers coverage options that help protect what you care about most at an affordable price just for you. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Prices vary by state. Options selected by customer. Availability and eligibility may vary.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
We may live over 5,000 miles from Lincoln Financial Field, but what we lack in proximity, we make up for in film study, and each and every week, we'll be bringing you in-depth film breakdowns from across the pond and the Sooner State. Welcome to On the Shane page. I am your host, Shane Haff. You can follow me on Twitter at ShaneHaffNFL. You can also joined by BGN's own film guru, Jonny Page, coming to us from his new podcast studio here. Give him a follow on Twitter at JohnnyPage9. Johnny, how are you doing?
Yeah, I was going to say before, there are so many things that could go wrong. Anyone watching live, GGN10's already in the chat, as he always is. There's everything new about today's episode, which always scares me technology-wise. So a lot of work done in the house, basically recording in a brand new room that was a conservatory and now is not. It's actually a room. We're trying to figure out how I can make this like a little work area. My wife is very pregnant. That's changed. I'm in a new room. I think it may be more echoey. So whether I'll record here long term or not, we will find out. I probably need to play around with the microphone settings as well. So as always, a little bit of feedback. Anyone listening, if it does sound worse, apologies for today. I will try to get it fixed at some point, but I don't know ways I can solve echo. But it is like a cross between like an actual room in the house and still a little bit of something different. So yeah, everything feels like change. New laptop, as I said, new everything. So we'll see how today goes. We've had a lot of requests for this episode, actually. So we're going to do it as a Patreon episode only. But we decided basically we're going to do something else for Patreon this week. On Thursday. So spoiler alert, if you're not on the Patreon, there'll be something dropping new on Thursday that I think will be pretty cool. So today we're going to do something that we did in the off season. Was it last off season? Yeah, and sort of go through the Eagles roster and see how we did with our rankings as well. I forgot to mention the other thing that will go wrong is they are brand new lights that have been installed around me in this room. And I need an electrician to come and look at them because they are still playing up. So if at some point I just start flashing like I'm in a rave or I just suddenly descend into darkness, that is because the lights have also gone down as well. So,
yeah.
New lights, new microphone, new laptop, everything else. And also, Eagles Super Bowl shirt on, which has finally arrived just today. So, Super Bowl champions wearing the Super Bowl shirt as well, which I've just got. So, except for that, Shane, everything's great. What could possibly go wrong?
Well, you did freeze 3 different times while you were talking there, so hopefully that smooths out.
Yeah, people watching on laptop, it might just be that it's just going to be a nightmare for the connectivity today. Luckily, you don't tune in to watch them. There'll be something on the screen, so you can stop staring at me freezing anyway. As long as the sound quality is all right, I'll worry about that more today.
Yeah, this time the sound actually was pausing when you did. Why don't I explain what we're doing, and how about you refresh and come back in, and I'll get you back in. We'll see if that fixes it. But so Johnny will pop back in here. So we are revisiting our 53-man roster evaluation. I believe it was episode 46 of the podcast this offseason. And so if you want to go back and listen to some of our rationale for how we ranked some of these players, it's episode 46. It's in the feed. It might have been a Patreon only episode. I can't remember, but you can go check that out. But I have those rankings on the screen, and we're going to talk back through them, and we're going to re-rank these players. And so We went through and we assigned players one of several ratings. And so again, if you're listening on podcast platforms, I'll read these out to you. If you're watching on YouTube or somewhere, you can see it on the screen. But our grading scale was an all-pro caliber, which is a top 5 potential at the position. Pro Bowl caliber was top 10 potential at the position. Quality starter was consistent playmaker. Quality starter upside is a player in years 1 through 3 who has starting potential. High-end role player is someone who is one-dimensional. Then we had spot starter or quality role player, which is a replacement level contributor. And then backup / special teamer, which is a purely developmental depth player. And then a practice squad designation, which is inefficient skills or experience to be a contributor. And so we ranked all of these guys, and these are the rankings we have on the screen. We're just going to walk back through the roster and update our rankings based on the outcome of the 2024 season. So hopefully our audio and stuff holds out and we can get this going. And so, Jonny, do you want to do offense or defense first?
Offense. You always got to start with offense, haven't you? Yeah, let's do it.
It is at the top of the spreadsheet. So offensively, we said Jalen Hurts was all pro caliber, top 5 potential at his position. I'm assuming, Jonny, that regardless of what Steven Ruiz has to say, our favorite punching bag on the show, that we're not going to change anything here.
No. Top 5 potential as well. So yeah, whether he's top 5 or not, you can discuss amongst yourself, but I think he absolutely has flashed the potential to do it. I think absolute worst case, you drop him down a tier, but I think the way he ended the season, no complaints at all. Actually, looking at the list, I feel like we did a pretty good job. So there probably won't be too many we change early on. I think it'll be more like backups and second teamers where there might have been maybe a little bit more change.
But shout out us.
Yeah, shout out us, I was going to say. Absolutely happy keeping Hurts as top 5 potential.
Okay, so Kenny Pickett, he obviously comes into the Washington game. He played a little bit down the stretch. We gave him a spot start / quality role player. Would you change that designation now, or would you leave it the same?
I don't know. Well, replacement, it depends. Would it be mad to flip Pickett and McKee?
Or that's actually what I was thinking.
Or just buying into the hype of what we saw in the very limited time that we saw. Oh, man. It's tough, isn't it? Because Pickett's just got so much more film out there. But I think I would be down for swapping them. I think I would be totally okay with swapping Pickett and McKee.
I would at least downgrade Pickett to backup special teamer, whether or not that corresponds to a move with McKee moving him up. It's hard off of one game, but I did like what I saw in that. I wish there needs to be like a quality role player upside because we just haven't seen it with McKee enough. He's still in that year 1 through 3 contributor, but I think I would be happy flipping them.
Yeah, I think I am totally down with that. I'm totally all right with that.
Okay. GGN says they should both be spot start / quality role players. So he's a little more up there. I keep trying to click my screen share instead of the actual document. That's messing with me here. But anyways, let's keep.
Speaking of messing, proper good fun for the podcast now. My light is definitely flickering. So give me 2 seconds. You can waffle on about Saquon because he's obviously top 5, and we're going to go dark mode. So it's currently in the UK, 6 o'clock, but it's like March, so it'll be dark in about half an hour. So I save my headache from going mental because the light above my head is flickering. I'm going to very quickly just whack these lights off and put a little light on. And we're going to descend into darkness at 6 o'clock on a Tuesday evening. So give me 2 seconds.
Okay, sounds good. We actually couldn't see the light flickering. But Saquon Barkley, we listed as all pro caliber. And there's obviously we're not going to change that. He's not top 5 at the position. He's top 1 at the position. And so Saquon definitely stays as all pro caliber. Jonny, the funny thing is that your screen actually looks about the same because
this must be the best lamp in the world next to me. To be fair, that lamp was the only light we had. Anyway, I must admit, I did not hear anything you said, but I'm guessing you said Saquon Barkley's very good at football, and we would leave him top 5. Anything I've missed?
We probably need to have a new scale because he's like top 1, not top 5. Feels disrespectful to call him top 5 at this point, but yeah, for sure.
Yeah. The interesting discussion, I guess, is we had Gainwell and Shipley ranked the same as a high-end role player. Oh, that's a tough one. Does Gainwell have quality starter upside? I think Gainwell was good, man. I feel sorry for Gainwell. I feel like he's the punching bag of Eagles Twitter sometimes. It'd be really interesting, actually, if someone pays him a little bit more. Tough. I maybe would keep Gainwell the same. I don't know about you, but I'm very unconvinced on Shipley still. Did Shipley do enough? And I know people can say he was a rookie, but running backs normally provide early, and he didn't really get close to taking any reps over Gainwell, realistically. I find it hard to rank Gainwell and Shipley the same. So I think one's got to go down or one's got to go up, is my personal opinion.
I think I would leave Gainwell as a high-end role player. I think he's got the potential to be a quality starter. We just haven't really seen it a lot. And it wouldn't surprise me if he goes somewhere next year and is a decent back, but I still just don't feel like he's ever like going to be a feature back. I think he's always going to be a role player wherever he's at. Now that role should probably be larger than it was in Philly, but that's what happens when you have Saquon. As for Shipley, I think maybe you bump him down to like spot start quality role player instead of calling him a high-end role player unless he proves something more this year. So I think I would downgrade Shipley and leave Gainwell where he's at.
Yep, I am perfectly in agreement with that. I think it's just hard to look at them as the same caliber. We'll do a little bit of a free agency preview here, but I must admit, Gainwell is one of the ones I'm really intrigued to see how the league views him. Because he flashes every so often that makes you think he could be more than he is with the Eagles. He's just not going to get the chance, is he? To play a great deal here. But the Eagles do need a running back that can handle the load, because I think Saquon played basically without any real problems this year, injury-wise. And the odds are they're probably not going to want him to carry as much next year. So running back 2 does matter because his team runs the ball a lot and you are going to get snaps. And yeah, I just haven't seen anywhere near enough from Shipley yet. So I'm perfectly fine with moving Kenny up above Shipley.
I can't wait for free agency to start, and for the takeaway that a bunch of GMs had from this season from the Eagles is that we should pay running backs rather than we should pay really good running backs. Like, I feel like there's going to be an overcorrection there, and some of these more mid-tier running backs are going to get bigger contracts than they probably should, just based off of what happened this year. But we'll see when free agency rolls around. Let's look at receivers. We listed AJ Brown as all pro caliber, top 5, no change there. I'm not even going to ask you, I know. Devontae Smith, we said Pro Bowl caliber, top 10 potential at the position. Yeah. How do you feel about Devontae Smith? Does he stay there?
No,
do you slot him in as quality starter?
No, yeah, it's hard, isn't it? Because there are probably 10 receivers that you like, but I think he has top 10 potential still. I think in a different offense where if he was prioritized by a QB that threw the ball a lot and he was the number 1 guy, I think he could do very well. So I don't think top 5. I just think pure like physical traits, size-wise, it's hard to compare him to like your Jamar Chases, your AJ Brown, your Justin Jeffersons. I think he can't really be put in that tier. But I'm okay with both of them. I must admit, it's the other receivers that I have more of a problem with, maybe where we've listed them than those guys.
Yeah, so Jahan Dotson, we gave quality starter upside, which he would no longer qualify for because he's not a year 1 through 3 player. And I think you probably bump him down to say he is either a high-end role player or a quality role player.
I would go high-end role player. I still think he's more of a replacement level contributor. I know he didn't show it with the Eagles, but I just think so much of that is situational. I think the Britton Covey, I'm just going to leave because we didn't really see him. I think Johnny Wilson's the interesting one. I don't know, man. Bump him down. Does he go to spot start or does he go to pure backup? Is there a role for pure backup?
I think it's pure backup.
It's when you watch him run a comeback route and the cornerback's just all over him. I just don't know if he has enough vertical juice to make it work. I mean, I guess we should include Anaya Smith here. He was on IR at the start of the year. He is also very clearly
practice squad
than we've seen. Yeah, it's weird. It's such an elite offense. If they could add a wide receiver 3 with legitimate juice, you can't help but feel like the offense could go up another gear. But also the way they play offense, it's just so hard to get or make it worth the investment of having a really, really good wide receiver 3. So it's tough. I think I'm happy with where we have. The rest of them, wow. Yeah, Nia Smith, practice squad, fair enough. He didn't even show backup level. Yeah, fine with me.
Yeah, and with Jonny Wilson too, it's not just the ability to get open. His hands were awful this year, which GGN's pointing out here in the chat. He had a lot of key drops. I mean, he's a good blocker, but you need him to be able to give something as a receiver, and I just didn't see any sign of it this year, which is sad. But hopefully he can have a good year too.
Yeah, he just did not play well this year. Sad, really. I didn't like him pre-draft, so I'm not going to moan, but I felt like he fell too late. Receivers, man. It is quite weird to say. You could argue, though, the Eagles at their skill positions have got top 5 running back, top 5 receiver, top 5 QB, isn't it? It's not bad going over here in Philadelphia at the moment. Tight end's an interesting one. So we didn't have Goddard as high as I think some people would have expected us to. I think there are fans that were calling for him top 5. I'm going to hold steady and say top 10. I think if anything, I drop him because of the injury issues. I don't think he still maybe has the movement skills when he was a little bit younger of a top 5 player. But I think in terms of a total tight end talent, like receiving and blocking, I still think he's in that top 10 category. Any disagreements?
I think he's closer to top 5 potential, but it's hard for me to put him there because of his availability over. Like he's missed a lot of games over the last few years, and depends on how you want to factor that in. But I just think it's kind of rare for a tight end, and I've been watching tight end film for the draft, and so it's fresh on my mind.
Shane hates tight ends right now. So Shane's got it, top 3. Shane hates everyone at tight end. Yeah, I love it.
Hot take. Harold Fannin Jr. stinks. But anyways, get that off my chest now before I get murdered for that take on the Armchair Scouts tonight, because I know they like him. But to me, like if you're going to be a tight end, you need to be able to block in line, and Goddard is so good at that. And like there's I don't think there's a lot of tight ends out there that are as good as a blocker and receiver as Goddard is. Like you have like your Travis Kelce's that, I mean, maybe not anymore, but that are really good receivers. And you've got your blocking tight ends who nobody knows their name because they don't catch passes, but it's rare to have a guy like, I think he's probably like top 8 to 10 just as a receiving tight end and just as a blocking tight end, and being up that high in both of those really raises your value for me. But again, he just hasn't stayed healthy and been able to put up big numbers. So I would say leave him in that Pro Bowl caliber instead of bumping him up. But I do think if he could stay healthy and be in a different offense, I think his stats would explode. He just doesn't get volume.
Yeah, I hate rankings. Anyway, all the listeners know I hate rankings. Daniel Lee chiming in saying PFF lists wide receivers the Eagles' number 1 need. Yeah, that's mental. Just no. It's a need, but it's not the number 1 need. Dallas Goedert is healthy, right? Hypothetically, for 17 games, how many tight ends in the league are you currently taking over him? And I'm frantically Googling now my Kittle rankings. Kittle, I'm not taking Travis Kelce. Absolutely not.
No.
So
the Chiefs aren't even taking Travis Kelce over Noah Brown.
Yeah, I don't even know if the Chiefs want
Noah Gray. Sorry, Kelce. Wrong Noah. Kittle, Laporta.
I'm taking Laporta. I'm taking Trey McBride. Absolutely. Yeah, I should have already Googled this question so I could have a list of titans in front of me before I just casually mentioned it on the podcast.
Brock Bowers,
absolutely. Let's go through a few others that I've got. I'm looking at a list before the season. No way Kelce anymore. Kittle, definitely. McBride, definitely. Laporta, definitely. I'm probably taking TJ Hawkinson over him as well. I think not taking Engram, not taking Kincaid, not taking Ferguson. I'm taking McBride. Definitely not taking Kyle Pitts. Do you know what? He might be close to top 5, isn't he? Just because of how bad the current landscape at tight end is.
Yeah.
Brock Bowers is awesome. Kittle's awesome. I don't know. I'll leave it to you. Have I actually named 5 better than him? Kittle, McBride,
Bowers,
Laporta, Hawkinson, Bowers. Is that it? Is he 6?
Maybe like Isaiah Likely in that mix a little bit.
Isaiah Likely's not better than Dallas Goedert. Get out of there.
He's healthy though.
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm saying hypothetically he's healthy.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah, he's probably if there was like a
Close, isn't he?
4
I still
through
think he's
8.
in the top 10 potential. Yeah, even Hawkinson's the GTN. So I don't know. Yeah, it's close, but then I also think you got guys like Jake Ferguson that are really good.
Yeah.
Who's the Browns guy who's really good when the quarterback can play, and Njoku. It's tough. That tight end position is really poor, isn't it? Outside of Bowers and Laporta, there's not a great deal of elite receiving talent that comes through the position these days. I'm happy leaving him top 10. You're the man on the spreadsheet, so if you want to change him, be my guest.
We'll just leave him. We'll leave him there.
Yeah, and then Calcaterra and Albert O. Do you know what? I'm really mean about Calcaterra, but is he bumped up enough to be a spot starter replacement level? I think Red's a bit harsh,
so.
and I think he's done enough. He might be a terrible blocker, but as far as backups go, I think he's like okay. And Albert O, I don't know, that doesn't exist.
Yeah, Albert O's practice squad.
Yeah, I think nothing else at tight end. I'm down for that.
Yeah, Calcaterra, if you don't want your tight end to ever block and just want him to run routes, he's quality at that. He's a quality receiver, so I agree with bumping him up a little. But I agree with GGN that Calcaterra needs an upgrade. Would love to have a different tight end too this next year. But let's get on to the offensive line where we said Jordan Mailata was Pro Bowl caliber. Feels safe to me to bump that up to all pro.
All pro, baby. PFF's number 1 offensive lineman, which
I do think that's a little crazy, but
it's wrong. Like, just watch the Eagles every week and Lane Johnson's better, but Lane Johnson's better than everyone else. So of course he would be.
Yeah.
Mailata definitely top 5.
Landon Dickerson, we had all pro. I would maybe downgrade him to like Pro Bowl caliber.
I didn't watch.
I guess
Landon
it depends.
This year.
It depends. Are we saying top 10 at left guard or top 10 offensive guards?
That's what's tricky.
He's definitely in the top third of starting left guards. But if you look at like the interior as a whole or just guards, I would probably bump him down to like Pro Bowl caliber.
Yeah, I tell you, I mean, I'm also basing it on it's not just a ranking exercise. It's sort of like when I watch, like, do I think I'm watching the best of the best at their position? And I have to be fully honest, there was too many times this year when I watched Landon Dickerson when I didn't see the best of the best, in my opinion. Like, whereas when I watched Mailata and Lane Johnson, I'm like, yeah, they are at a level. I think there was maybe a few too many issues at times with picking up stunts. GGN saying, I don't know enough about guard play. Like, yeah, I'm the same. Like, Christ, I don't watch every other guard around the league. All I can say is from a gut feeling, I didn't watch him this year and think he was top. But as Daniel Lee said, he clearly was not healthy this year.
Yeah.
To prevent egg on our face, let's leave him at top 5 potential and mention injuries. But I think if he played like he did exactly the same next year, I would drop him down personally.
Okay, that's fair. Cam Jurgens, we had quality starter upside. I would bump him up to a quality starter, I think.
Yeah, I don't think Pro Bowl caliber yet. And I'd also bump up, while we're on the matter, I would bump up Becton all the way to quality starter as well. Same. People are not as high on Becton as I am. But I think he is a starter. I think you'd be hard pressed to say a team is not going to play him starting money this year, whether that's the Eagles or whether that's someone else. I think the odds of him not being paid. In fact, my BGM review was published today on Becton as well. So if you want to know more of my thoughts on him, you can go and check it out over at Bleeding Green Nation. I basically comment that I think we should keep him still. And I also like how, if anyone's watching live, I'm really enjoying my descent into like vampire on the screen as well. As this is London, this is England for you. It's light at 5:50, and then by 6:10, it's just dark. It just drops. So I'm quite enjoying my descent into you being like, yeah, your camera's actually the same. Now it's
not anymore.
Definitely not. I'm quite enjoying it. There you go.
All right. Yeah. Their O-line play is too bad across the NFL for Mekhi Becton not to be a quality starter. I do think Eagles fans tend to overrate him based on some of his viral blocks, but he's a good player. Lane Johnson stays all pro. For the backups, you have Fred Johnson. I would say maybe you upgrade Fred Johnson from backup to spot starter.
All on board. Why not? I like Fred Johnson. Yeah. I think there was enough there considering how bad tackle players. He's not just a straight up insufficient. I mean, they haven't really got anything else, have they? Dean's an interesting one. We put him at, I don't think he did enough to be bumped up, I'll be honest. I think I'd leave him there. GGM, we did upgrade Jurgens. I wouldn't go top 10 yet on Jurgens personally. I'd leave him at green. No. I think I'd leave him there, to be honest with you. I don't think I saw enough.
Agreed. I do think we'll see enough this next year, but I don't think we saw it this year yet. He didn't have enough opportunities.
I don't know. I've got a bad taste in my mouth, Shane. I'm someone that likes Dean and said he should start, but some of those week 17 reps, I don't know. They left a bad taste. I would have liked to have seen more. Anyway, and Kennard, who the hell cares? Yeah, nothing.
Yeah, Kennard and Keegan just didn't see really, so we'll leave them as backups.
So overall, before we move on to defense, I think at the starting 11, you could argue the Eagles have 6 out of 11 or 12, depending on how you count the 3 wide receivers. No, you did count one time, didn't you? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 top 5 players on offense. My goodness. And the Saints are like, we want that offensive coordinator, but fair enough. And that doesn't even include Devontae Smith.
The worst guy in the starting offense is a former first-round pick who we said is a high-end role player.
Who also flashed like a very successful first few years in the league with Washington as well.
Yeah.
And you could even bump up Goddard on another day. I think, if anything, we're being harsh with Goddard rather than we're being like generous with Dickerson. So that is a crazy talent. The one thing I would say about the Eagles offense is it bombs out with the backups. There is a significant lack of talent at backup there. You lose AJ Brown, you lose Saquon Barkley, you lose Mailata, and you're struggling quite a lot. Although a lot of teams can say that, but it'd be nice to get some younger players at backups that can grow into the role rather than have what the Eagles have currently with players. I don't really see a lot of building blocks there. Right. Any final thoughts on the offense?
Not really. Just the Eagles offense is really good. And this is part of why I wasn't super concerned about losing. What's his name?
Kellen Moore.
We're at the point. Kellen Moore. Why I wasn't super concerned about losing Kellen Moore, because I didn't think he did outstanding things this year, like schematically. And I just think like it takes a special kind of incompetence to not be able to have this offense be like a top 5 or 10 unit. So
sounds like Kevin. Is it Kevin Patullo? How do you pronounce his name?
Yeah.
So that sounds like Kevin Patullo's music, but we pray it's fine. Right. I think defense is where we get into the more interesting conversations. So let's start it off with light. I would just like to say I think we nailed the Carter and Davis picks.
Yeah.
I think that was the one we disagreed the most about. I think people would have had Davis higher. I'm fine with high end role player. I think he's a one-dimensional starter still. I think some people might say quality starter. I don't buy that. And we went big, Shane. We went top 5 Jalen Carter. So we can't even move him up anymore because he is absolutely top 5. And I think we smashed that. I think we were early on him.
He's top 2
consensus. Yeah. And I think I'm happy with both of them too. Milton Williams. Nailed it.
I'm fine with where Milton Williams is. I think quality starter is the right place for him. I think he's going to go get paid top 10 defensive tackle money, and I don't think he's going to be a top 10 defensive tackle somewhere else.
No, we didn't see Tua Pelotu play at all, so he's non-existent at backup, isn't he? Which didn't. Was he hurt, Tua Pelotu? Did he get cut? He just not.
I honestly don't even know
what happened to him. And then obviously, I'm bumping up a Jomo. Of course I am, my boy. I think I'm going quality starter upside. I don't think I'm there yet with quality starter, but I think I am there that he is better than, in a vacuum, better than Davis potentially. Do you disagree?
Marlon Tuipulotu was released by the Eagles and picked up by the Chiefs. So he is on the Chiefs.
I was going to say, I did not see his name once all year, so I guess he was not with us.
I would drop him to practice squad. Yeah. I agree with you. I would move Moro Ojimo from high-end role player to quality starter upside. We can do that, right? This he'll be going into year 3, I think.
Yep, he will. And Thomas Booker didn't see enough, did we? Maybe spot start, maybe.
I would say quality role player, because I thought he did well in a few reps. He was out there. He's obviously going to be deep in a rotation, but I think he's a quality role player. He's a quality run stuffer, and we'll see where he goes from there.
Yeah, right. Edge. What on earth do we do at edge? So Josh Sweat, I like him where he is. I think he played
Quality
like a quality
starter.
starter. Bryce Huff.
We listed Bryce Huff as a quality starter.
Got that wrong.
I think I would drop him down to a quality role player.
Replacement level, yeah. I'd love to say he's a high-end role player, but you can't be one-dimensional when you don't even play.
Right.
I'll be honest, that's generous based on the fact he was inactive for Christ's sake in the Super Bowl. So yeah, drop him big time.
Do you drop him all the way to backup / special teamer?
Because I think the injury gives him a little bit of a way out. I think the injury gives him a slight way out.
Okay.
Then the backups are interesting as well. So, do you know what?
Brandon
Obviously, he's
Graham.
going to retire, but BG ended up
Quality starter.
Yeah, like genuinely, when he played this year, he was good, like good. And then the interesting discussion is we were definitely lower on Nolan Smith. Both of us were. We are absolutely ready to eat that L. I think that was a very surprising development. The question with Nolan is how high do you go? I'm guessing you're going to go to quality starter.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
And I would say the same as well. I think you can get a bit carried away if you go any higher at this point. Patrick Johnson, nothing. Jalix Hunt, I would bump him up to quality starter upside.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. A lot of progress there when you look at, except for Bryce Huff going down, you saw progression from BG randomly, Nolan Smith and Jalix Hunt, which is exactly what you would have wanted to see. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Perfectly fine with those guys.
That's nice. Just get Bryce Huff off the team now and let the young guys play. Of course, you're gonna end up getting Bryce Huff, Josh Sweat, and Brandon Graham all off the team, and that I don't think they'll actually move off of Bryce Huff, but it's going to be interesting to see how they handle edge.
Yeah, I was saying off there, it's a fascinating edge class as well. It's a really, really interesting edge class.
And there are rumors about Myles Garrett. So if you're a Patreon, check your feed on Thursday. We're going to have some stuff out.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's keep rolling. Let's go to linebacker. We said Devin White was a quality starter.
Sometimes I hate being persuaded by people because I did not like the film. Anyone listen to me? I said he was not playable. I should find my article because I said some promising things about him in coverage, but I literally said if you watch the film against the 49ers and against someone else, he is not a starter. Yeah, I said he's not usable. And then I still gave him a quality starter because people told me he was better than he was, and the contract got to me, and I felt the Eagles had played him. And I can't lie and rewrite history and hate him. I did literally say, I don't think the film I watched was that good. The 49ers film in particular is a bit of a disaster. And it wasn't like just a disaster. It was like absolutely, it was a travesty. Like the 49ers film was like one of the worst things I've ever seen. From a linebacker, he just had no idea what he was doing. But then I still gave him quality star on the podcast, so eggs on my face.
I need to go back and listen to that because I was very out on Devin White too. I don't know how we ended up listing him.
Why were we convinced?
As a quality starter.
Why were we convinced? I'm literally reading my thing here. I said Devin White was a top 10 pick for a reason. He's incredibly talented with bags of potential, but the film I watched is not very, very good. All coaches believe that they can be the one to unlock an extremely talented athlete, but the truth is that players will rarely change after 5 years in the NFL. I basically said, like, my only hope, I even said, which is quite good. I think the thing is he comes from a system that is completely and utterly different from Fangio's system, which is weird. I said, I hope this was a Fangio signing, not a Howie signing. I think it wasn't. And then I said, as I've made it pretty clear, I'm not sold on Devin White, but he's clearly better than Shaq Leonard, Nicholas Moreau, and Zach Cunningham. I said, although I honestly think I might be better than Shaq Leonard at this point. I wrote that in my film review. So despite that, you didn't like him. And
we will never know because you haven't run your 40 yet. Well, we'll never know if you would be better than Shaq Leonard because you haven't run your 40 yet. So,
where did Devin White end up? What did he do?
I think he's a plumber now. I have no idea. If I was guessing without re-listening to that podcast, I would guess we gave him a bit of a Fangio bump and said that he would be blitzed a lot. Like they would blitz him a lot, and maybe he would be good at that.
Texans backup, by the way.
He signed with the Texans and had a few tackles, 19 tackles.
Yeah, I'm looking at the depth chart here, whether he was like third in line or where did they rank him? No, they had him behind the backups as well. Yeah, so practice
Make him a practice squad.
Yeah.
Okay. Zach Bond. We listed as a spot starter / quality role player. Like, you can't say anything but all pro, right?
Yeah, top 5, baby. I mean, defensive player of the year votes. About to get one of the biggest contracts at linebacker the NFL was seeing with the Eagles.
Yes, speak it into existence.
There we go. So, yeah, nothing else to say about Zach Baldwin. I've said too much already. The backups are interesting. Having the Kobe Dean, Jeremiah Trotter, and Ben Van Sumeren at the same level feels weird, doesn't it? Dean jumped up to quality starter.
Question. For Dean, are we factoring in that injury? Because he did pop up to quality starter. Okay,
let's just do how he plays. Like, I'll be honest, his career might be over, Shane. Like, I don't even know if he's ever going to return to that. I hate talking about the Kobe Dean's injury because it upsets me because he was such a good player this year.
Same. If you're factoring in the injury, I'm really skeptical about him coming back, but he deserves that bump to quality starter.
A couple of comments as well. Krabby, sorry, you are late. This is entirely my fault. I didn't tweet this out. Krabby, number 1, get in the Patreon and you won't be late. That's what I'm going to say because I tag everyone and make them know. And also, it's my fault because English football fans, Arsenal play a massive game this evening and we couldn't do Wednesday, so we're here early today. Trot that high. GGM, we were basing that on some college film. Did Trotter do anything to go down? I mean, let's drop him because it seems too high to a high-end role player. Maybe drop Ben Van Sumeren, but put Ben Van Sumeren as a quality fullback instead.
Yeah.
Because Ben Van Sumeren was actually good at fullback.
Let's see. Hold on. Stand by. Yeah, I'm gonna let's move Ben Van Sumeren to fullback.
Green.
And make him green.
You've now completely ruined the grading scale, by the way. So you just copy and paste it up, or there's just a horrible gap. My OCD's kicking in. Love it.
Yeah. I don't know. Is how many fullbacks are there in the NFL? Is there more than 5? Ben Van Sumeren might be a top 5 potential at the position.
BVS was awesome at fullback, man. Yeah. What do you think I should do with him? Genuine question. Fullback next year? Linebacker next year? Is he actually
probably both
full-time at fullback?
They're gonna get him a receiver eligible number, and he's gonna be a backup linebacker, and he's gonna play 10 snaps at fullback.
Yeah, the terrible Travis Hunter in positions that are nowhere near as effective.
A terrible he's a poor man's Travis Hunter.
Yeah. Who else at linebacker did the Eagles have? Oren Burks. You got a whack in Oren Burks there.
Yeah.
Right. Oren Burks is a weird one because based on our stupid metric system that Shane came up with, you can't give him quality starter upside because he's too old. So you either go quality starter or high-end role player.
I think I would say high-end role player.
Yeah, me too. But I think if he played more, he might be a quality starter for this team. But I'm happy leaving him there for now as well.
Yeah, we got a comment asking if you guys really think Dean's career is over. Not a doctor. I've just heard that's a really difficult injury to come off of. So hopefully not.
Can comment more. It's not a case of him never playing again. It's a case of, is his career at that level ever over? It's a rough injury. And sports science is amazing these days. So I hope it's not a problem. But I mean, I think it came out like a month ago. He might be out all of next year already. I remember seeing that someone said he's expected, I don't know, it's tough. It sucks. It really, really does suck. I hope for his sake it's not. He was genuinely playing really well as well.
Yeah. Okay, let's roll on to cornerback where we gave Darius Slay quality starter. I think I still like that quality starter.
Yeah, if anything, I'm bumping him up to top 10. I don't know. We said we talk about Slay's release here as well. He might be back. He might not. Obviously, feels like he's not going to be back. My gut tells me. Slay's really good. I don't think there's ever been a better cornerback better at 34. I think we probably got it right. I think some people were harsh on him. I think you could have gone top 10 in all honesty. But I'm happy leaving him as green. But yeah, pour one out for Slay tonight because top Eagle, Darius Slay. He will be missed, man. He'll be missed. There's not many cornerbacks that are consistent in coverage as he is. So whatever you think about the backups and the depth, he will absolutely be missed.
him being gone fundamentally changes what the Eagles can do with their safeties because they were so comfortable leaving both Slay and Mitchell on an island. And so they could cross key in quarters. And so they could
watch Super Bowl. Yeah.
So
the middle of the field.
So if you're not as comfortable and Mitchell's not going to travel, to the solo side or whatever. And so it's going to change things if they don't have that same confidence in whoever is outside next year. So we'll see on that. But yeah, I think I would leave him as quality starter.
Right. Let's have the rookie conversation. Yeah, let's have the rookie conversation. So top 10 for Quinion is going to be my argument. How about you?
I think I would probably argue for top 5 potential.
Really? Already? Wow. Based on how he's played, though, not projecting forward.
Yeah, I mean, you got Patrick Surtain.
Yeah.
Who else?
No, fair enough.
I mean, Sauce Gardner like fell off a little.
Yeah, he's like a top 1 of 1, isn't he, Surtain? He's like so...
Yeah.
Like significantly better than everyone else. Not better, but like more valuable, I think, in the way he plays. Yeah, tough. There were some disappointing years from people like Trent McDuffie was up there, wasn't he, before the season? Travarius Ward, I don't know if they had as good years as you'd expect. Sauce Gardner was like a clear one going into the season. Jalen Johnson, is Jalen Ramsey up there? Yeah, Joe Alexander, were they up there? Top 5 or top 10. Either way, he's one of the very, very best. I know what the comments are going in. Anyone commenting, a few people saying Stingley as well. Yeah, that's a tough one, isn't it?
It's the whole thing where I don't like to... I
don't watch enough of other teams to comment he's already top 5, Shane. That's my issue. I don't watch enough.
Christian Gonzalez.
I would go top 10. My gut tells me top 10 safer.
Okay.
How about a radical discussion?
If he has
a radical discussion.
If he had the exact same year next year, so he's done it twice in a row, though, I would argue really hard for top 5. It is a little bit of the it's hard for me to say top 5 after one season. I've been burned by that before.
But he says all of that, and then he argues, is Cooper DeJean a top 5 nickel cornerback already?
So if we're specifically saying nickel, then absolutely. If we're saying cornerbacks as a whole, I would put him top 10 as well.
So we had him as a cornerback as a whole, didn't we? So we could almost change this list to like a slot corner, but we didn't obviously know in preseason where they were going to be playing. So why don't you put him top 10 for now based on the way we've done our metric system? But you had it. We did have a slot category. I'm being
I just changed that.
Oh, you just added it. My brain went mental. I was like, I did not see that 2 seconds ago. I think and we had a good chat on the Discord with Alex as well, and we said that moving Cooper DeJean would be like, what did you say? You would turn up at Eagles facility or something.
I will drive there and protest.
However, if the Eagles play a lot more base, which they won't, by the way, because of Cooper DeJean, that's the irony. Yeah. But if they did play more base, then DeJean may move outside. But I think honestly, as a nickel specialist, there are not many good nickel specialists around. It's such a hard position. I think he is top 5, but if you're going to add him as a normal quarterback, to be honest, as a normal quarterback, he might only be quality starter. I think if you're going for nickel only,
he's the best nickel corner in the league. I feel very comfortable saying that already.
And that's mental, isn't it? That is crazy for someone after 1 year. I just think the way the nickel is, screw it. Should we go top 5? Are we mad?
Yeah. If we reclassify it as slot, then he's absolutely top 5.
Yeah, let's do it.
Absolutely. I don't.
Can I just ask, Jen, because this is a safe space. We're on a podcast. It's February. Who the hell cares? And this is one for the comments as well. One for the chat. More valuable Eagle, Quinion or DeJean? Based on last year. If I could tell you now, hypothetically, someone comes in with the biggest trade in the world and gives you 5 first-round picks for one of them, and you can keep one.
For the Eagles specifically, DeJean, he plays the more valuable role. Like what he allows them to do. He allows them, like, it's funny. We had the conversation about, like, well, if they play base, you put him outside, you don't take him off the field. But the thing is, they play nickel against 13 personnel because he is the nickel.
Yeah, by the way, I'm disagreeing with you. I'm taking Quignon just on pure talent alone. But
Quignon is the better player, no doubt.
Yeah.
I just think, if you're asking me who was more critical to the Eagles' success in 24, I think it's DeJean.
Oh, but it's a big take, isn't it? Big take. Yeah, it's interesting though, isn't it? It's an interesting discussion. Also, Machine and Mitchell, by the way, we'll definitely do a film review for Patreon in the off season. We'll do a little bit of a look at. I want to do a rookie review at some point, so we would definitely get to that in the off season because I'd like to go back and watch some more of their film as well. Because I'm a sicko.
GGN mentions a good point here. With Slay gone, though, you probably give that bump to Quignon Mitchell because you don't want to have uncertainty. If you have uncertainty at both outside corner spots, it really makes you having a really good slot a lot less impactful because you don't trust your outside corners anymore.
Well, I've somehow just seen the time, and we said this would be like the shortest episode I've ever done, and we're amazingly waffling at 45. So let's wrap this up with the other backups. Rodgers is a weird one. I might leave him where we put him. I didn't see anything from his film that suggested that he couldn't play like a quality starter. And I'm also happy leaving Ringo where he is. I actually wouldn't change any of them. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. Ringo, I still think is quality starter upside. He just he's got the starting potential and hasn't played. Isaiah Rodgers was a step down from Slay, but that doesn't mean he's not a quality starter, especially, if you look at cornerback play around the league. And then Eli Ricks, I would just move to a practice squad. Fine.
And I think Rodgers got a very good chance of re-signing now. Very good chance of re-signing.
Agreed.
Right, let's go on safety. I think safety is possibly the most interest. So we have Maddox as a safety. You can actually bump him to slot, and I would leave him as a slot backup. DJ Gardner-Johnson.
Now, hold on. For Avante, I probably would not consider him a high-end role player. Do you make him backup at this point?
I'd go straight backup, I'll be honest. I think he's washed. I know we had one play in Super Bowl. Everyone's like, he's back. But it was literally one play. Safety. I am bumping up my boy Reed. I think Reed is a quality starter at this point in his career.
Agreed.
I have no idea what to do with TJ Gardner-Johnson. He goes from all-pro to backup in the space of one game. I think you are...
Depends on if you're in the red zone or not.
Yeah, red zone is terrible in man coverage, isn't he, on tight ends? Like, abysmal. Thing is... I think of the safety landscape. I think with what he can do, I maybe leave him as a quality starter.
I agree.
I would bump up Tristan McCollum to, I think, from a backup to maybe a spot starter, bump him up one. And I would have to leave Sidney Brown there. If anything, I would drop Sidney Brown to high-end role player, but I think maybe we'll give him the benefit of the doubt due to injuries ruining his off-season and leaving him there.
I honestly might drop Sidney Brown further than that.
Wow. President of the Sidney Brown fan club.
He just couldn't get on the field this year, and that kind of tells you a lot.
Though, wasn't he? He was injured all off season.
That's true. Yeah, that's fair.
I think it's harsh. I think it's too early to do that. But yeah, I must admit, my faith in him is very
so high-end role player.
Yeah, and then Bradbury you can drop to back up, I guess.
He fits that high-end role player, one-dimensional category pretty well because he'll come flying downhill and hit people, but he's not that good in coverage, that sort of thing.
Yeah, right. Defense overview. Then, when you look at it as a whole, like 3 elite talents, if you include Cooper DeJean, and one of them may not be coming back. I mean, a fair amount of quality starters. What's crazy, Shane, is they
four elite players.
Yeah, all right. They will probably lose 3 of them: Milton, Josh, and Darius Slay. They can't lose Zach Ball, man. And I keep banging on about it. You can't lose Milton Williams, Josh Sweat, Zach Ball, and Darius Slay in one off season. Just be frustrating. I think Davis is the one that and I think, but it's still a pretty talented defense. It's a pretty good roster. I think they've arguably got more depth on defense at certain points. But obviously they're going to lose more of them. So it's
still crazy looking at this list, how much better the defense was than the offense this year. Like, hats off to Fangio, man. Like,
oh man,
absolutely hats off to Fangio.
Hire that offensive coordinator to be your head coach.
Yeah.
I just don't see anything and you go, that's the guy. Like, look how talented the offense is. But yeah, I agree. Yeah, Fangio's a ridiculous year. Like, flat ridiculous year. I think you could argue that Quinion and Darius Slay could both be top 10 as well. But yeah, ridiculous coaching year. And then let's wrap it up, Shane. We put Jake Elliott at top 5. Wow. He is definitely going down to quality starter.
I think so, yeah.
I don't think the Eagles will upgrade him. I think they'll leave it be for now because of his Super Bowl.
Although there are reports that he was kicking through an injury this year.
Well, that must admit, Shane, off-season trope, everyone's injured when they're bad.
Yeah, that's true.
Every player's hurt. Everyone's injured. One quick comment, by the way, before we go there. What's holding Sidney Brown back? Great question from Radiga on YouTube. What's holding him back is reckless abandon with the way he plays. Basically, he needs to just chill. And it's all very well being like incredibly fast, incredibly aggressive around the field, but only if you actually make the tackle. He needs to like relax and start to actually play with a little bit of calmness and not just play like he's only getting 5 snaps a game. He's going to injure himself every week. And in coverage, he needs to also get better, basically. Yeah. Right. I don't care. Punter and long snapper. Who the hell cares, Shane? What are we doing? Leave him. I'm
upgrading our punter to top 10.
Really? Who cares? Yeah. Mark Anderson. That's a better way of saying what I just said. Game has to slow down for him. Yeah, everything is so quick. No finesse. Yeah. And a good quote in GGN 10 saying, add a coach section. Yeah, screw it. Let's go for a coach section just to really ramp up some hot takes. So we'll leave offensive coordinator. Kevin Patullo, I don't know. Is he it doesn't really work, does it? A replacement level contributor? Who knows? Sirianni, Shane. That's just fun, isn't it? Just to ramp up the hot takes. I mean, his record is a top 5 coach. I still can't put him there. Sorry, I just can't. I would put Fangio All-Pro. I would put Sirianni Pro Bowl caliber. And Kevin Patullo, who the hell knows? Spot start, quality role player, replacement level. We'll wait to see on that. Just for like
quality starter upside.
I would give I'd have given Kellen Moore a quality starter, consistent coach if he was still here. Does anyone disagree? Anyone in the comments, do you disagree with my coach rankings?
Our stuff doesn't really work very well for coaches. Like,
I just
what is
like
a
it.
Pro Bowl coach?
Yeah, let's just for the sake of argument's sake. Any disagreements? Anyone putting Sirianni in top 5 coach?
No, I don't. I think top 10's good enough.
Yeah. Man, all pro holder. Yeah, who the hell knows? I don't even watch special teams. Full disclosure, NFL Pro. I'm just like skip. I couldn't tell you anything about punt coverage. That's based on my life. If you think I got time to watch punt coverage and kick coverage, there'll be someone else that can do that. Yeah, I'm not down for that. I watch basically special teams live, and that is it. Comment seems to agree. So there you go.
I filter by Jalen Hurts on the field and then whoever the opposing quarterback is on the field, so I don't have to watch special teams.
Yeah.
All right.
All-time culture setting coach. I love it. There's that updated version with a few people asking us to do that. We will do that again in preseason, probably before the season kicks off, when the draft is done, when free agency is done. I can't remember what we had before, Shane. So I don't know if you've got last year's rankings. There we go. It's going to look terrible. Like looks like we've got nothing wrong when you do it like that. But I think we had a few reasonable takes. Yeah.
Shout out us.
I'm looking back now. Shout out us. All right, very, very, very quickly before we wrap it up. What was our best take and what was our worst take? I'm going to go with best take being high on Jalen Carter. If you got a difference of opinion.
No, I think being that high on Jalen Carter, and then worst take was for some reason saying Devin White was a quality starter.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. Right.
I don't either.
Let's call it there. Shout out those of you in the chat in Tuesday of March, where we're not even into GGN 10 saying what's a Patreon thing on Thursday. I mean, Shane already hinted at it. So we're going to do a little look at Myles Garrett. So we're going to drop in a nice little Myles Garrett film review because I watched Myles Garrett on Sunday and know he's unbelievable. But I sort of want to know how unbelievable. Are we talking like one of one unbelievable? Like, wow, watching this guy. So yeah, we're going to drop a little Myles Garrett film review. So if you're not on the Patreon, jump in. We're going to do a lot of film stuff around free agency and the draft. The good thing about the free agency stuff is we're going to do a lot more like peek behind the curtain type Patreon stuff. So it'll be a lot more of like, like just rock and roll. Here's the film. Basically, we're thinking we'll do a lot of Patreon stuff for film review. Literally, like we'll do our homework live. We'll just watch film like we would do. So if the Eagles sign X linebacker, we'll try and get on here and just watch together so we can get our thoughts about that player while we're recording. Connor, percentage chance, no idea. I think he would desperately want to come here, and I've got a feeling the Eagles are going to try and have a go at him, because I think what you're going to see on Thursday when we watch his highlights is he's like legit, top, possibly best defensive player in the league. So yeah, I think that's
second best behind Jalen Carter, of course. So
third best behind Zach Bond, of course, as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, yeah.
And Cooper DeJean. So, anyways, he's going down the list, but he can basically come to Philly and be the 5th best player on his own defense. It'll be great.
Yeah, no, because he can't read Blankenship, obviously.
All right. That is going to do it for this episode. Thank you, everybody, for joining in. I hope you enjoyed the show. Again, if you are listening on a podcast platform, we really appreciate you. If you will leave 5-star ratings and reviews wherever you're listening, that helps us get the podcast out there to more people. You can also head over to the Eagles Pin Pull YouTube account if you want to see the video version of this show, especially where there's the graphic and things. But thank you guys for tuning in, and we will catch our Patreons on Thursday. We'll catch the rest of you guys next week.